Glad to be here. You have to wait till the recording is in progress. We are going to talk about the Family History Guide, but I kind of have a little bit of a story to tell. Many years ago, probably before many of you were born, my wife and I were just newly married, not too newly married. We had one little baby, and we had gone into the United States Army on active duty, and our first assignment was at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And we drove our car, pulling our trailer back from Salt Lake, where we were living at the University of Utah, back to Kentucky. And of course, we were not overly familiar with Kentucky, and we certainly weren't familiar with Louisville, which of course is Louisville. And we ended up in the middle of the night underneath the freeway. And for whatever maps we had, they didn't help us. And wherever we were, we didn't know. And so we just kind of kept driving until we did find someplace we did know and was on the map. And then that finally got us on the right road, but that was a really kind of interesting experience. Okay, now let's fast forward to today. We pull out our phone, we look at it, we say, we're sitting right here, turn right, turn left. Okay, now you're on the freeway, don't worry about it. Okay, this is what's going on with genealogy. This is the technology of today, the Family History Guide. You have everything right here, literally, that you need to know to get started. And what I say over and again is that if you work your way through the Family History Guide, you will know more than 90% of all of the family historian genealogists in the United States and possibly in the world. Because this has all of the resources, it has instructions, it has activities, it has everything you need. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through and understand some of the basic things in the guide. And first of all, it is a free, structured, educational, genealogically oriented website, and it's affiliated as an educational partner with FamilySearch.org. So it is used by the Family History Library in Salt Lake City and the BYU Family History Library, and presently the Los Angeles Family History Library, and perhaps others already, as the basis, as the kind of the background basis of all the training for all church service missionaries who are serving in the libraries. So this is a fundamental product here. And basically we have to understand it's much more than just an educational website. And so we're going to go some of the helpful features that you will discover as you use the website to learn and for reference. And there's a very important thing to understand about this website. It is maintained entirely by volunteers. And it is a 501c3 charitable organization sponsoring, which is called the Family History Guide Association. And so we are totally independent. When I say we, my wife and I are on the board of directors of the Family History Guide Association. We've been working with this website for the past 8 years or so. And so we are entirely dependent upon donations and contributions to maintain the website. Thank you. And here we go. We're going to go through 25 quick features to help you understand the Family History Guide. And it's going to be fast and pretty furious. And so we'll get moving along as we go. First of all, we want to look at, this is number 1, and it is the menu bar. And as you look at the menu bar, you'll see it says Family Search, Ancestry. These are different training paths. So as you click on those items, you'll see selections in the drop-down menu that gives you access to all of the features of the website. So I would suggest you take a few minutes and go through that process of just orienting yourself to how the website looks and what's available under the different menu bars. Number 2 is the search icon up in the corner of the website where it says Family History Guide Intro Family Search. You can see that there's a magnifying glass, and that magnifying glass is the search field. And when you do that, you can search for any topic you can think of on the Family History Guide, and it has an extensive, the whole website is searchable by Google, and so this is a Google kind of benefit, and you get to have all the information that's in the website. So that's number 2, the search icon. Like here, if I was going to search for German records, I'd put that in, and then I would be taken to the German records section of the website. Number 3 is Google Translate. Google Translate is probably the most indispensable tool that I have today for all of the times that I have to switch languages constantly and helping people with various questions and projects. So I might be looking up words in Italian. I might be looking up words in Spanish. Well, Spanish I can pretty well get, but some other language, Portuguese occasionally. Sometimes I'm looking up German terms, Scandinavian terms. It's just a fast, easy way online. You just go to googletranslate.org and you are going to be able to translate. But the effect it has here on the Family History Guide is that it translates the entire website into all of the Google languages. So no matter what language you're starting from, you can use the Family History Guide as the basis for your research. So you can look at it and see it in Danish, or you can see it in Basque, or you can see it in Afrikaans or Italian or Japanese, whatever you want, and it will change. Now, there are limitations when this happens with any kind of a translation program, because an image cannot be translated. It is not text. It is not recognizable as language. The technology, by the way, is catching up with that, and Google can now automatically recognize text in images. So things may change very quickly over the next few years. One of the things I found just recently is that with the new iPhone that I happened to get a newer one after a few years, I basically found out that I can use that to automatically translate or OCR, optical character recognition, text out of images. So kind of another little handy tool I have in my pocket that I can use to do a lot of different things. So remember, you can view the website in any one of these languages. Number 4, Family Search Training Partner. Okay, when I mentioned that previously, what I mean is that the Family History Guide is associated with FamilySearch. It is also associated and proved by a lot of other, for instance, it's a diamond level sponsor of the National Genealogical Society, and it has a lot of other, if you go to the Family History Guide Association website, you will see all of the levels of approval that this particular website has received. It also, by the way, you should be aware that the Family History Guide, we have a YouTube channel, we are on Pinterest, we're on Facebook, we have a blog, and we have Twitter, and there's these links to all of those various online support sources. The blog is very active. It's posted every week, usually with three articles or so. And so it is another great source of information. And once again, it is approved by FamilySearch as a training resource, and it's obviously being used by the Family History Library in Salt Lake and by the BYU Family History Library for training. Okay, and I mentioned the Family History Guide Association, the blogs, and YouTube and Pinterest. Okay, right at the beginning here, what we have is an overview, a tour, and getting started. I actually have had people call me or send me emails or talk to me and say, well, I went to the Family History Guide, but I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. What's it supposed to do? And I said, oh, well, go to the Family History Guide and click on number 1, overview. When you finish watching that little video, go to number 2, tour. And when you get to number 3, it will tell you how to get started. So basically right there in the middle of the screen is the path. Now, there's also a beginner's path. If you look a little below the middle of the screen there, it says try the beginner's path. And what the beginner's path does is it cuts down the menu items, so there aren't quite so many of them, and it doesn't make it quite so overwhelming with the number of things that are available. And it's not a good, eventually you'll work your way out of the beginner's path, but it is an extremely good way to get started right at first. Okay, now this is the intro menu, and the intro menu has other links, the same links, the getting started. Then there's a 15 minutes getting started. There's a page about the Family History Guide itself. THG is the Family History Guide. So when you see THF, it's FG. I can't even say that rapidly. TFHG, then that's what that is. Obviously, FAQs is, if you're familiar with computers at all, is frequently asked questions. So there's a whole list of questions that can be answered. There's the beginner's path. Now, this is important to understand. The Family History Guide also contains resources for getting started on computer basics, both on PCs and on Apple-based systems. And then there's more information about the learning system, the features help. There's a study center, questions about the partners. We have a number of partners, programs and activities, topics, a site map, which is really useful because it tells you where everything is on the whole website at one time, and the Family History Guide Association link. That is the intro. So it's a valuable one to click on and look around and figure out what's there. Okay, so once you're ready to get going, you're going to go to FamilySearch Project 1, the family tree. And when you do that, you click on FamilySearch and go down and click on Family Tree. And then it will take you to that Project 1. So there you are. Now we're to number 7, FamilySearch Project 1 Family Tree. Across the top, you'll still see the learning paths. Those are the major areas of organization. And then in each of the learning paths, there are specific goals. And for the FamilySearch Family Tree, the goals are listed across on another menu that say navigate, view details, children, spouses, find recents, alternative views, etc. Going across all the way, like merging and charts and account and solutions gallery, all of the things on the FamilySearch.org website. Each of these is an individual goal. And if you go down, you'll see that there's a sign in and navigation, goal 1, which is navigate. And that's where you start to find the text and the information that's contained in for all of the instructions for having to get to learn FamilySearch, Family Tree, and become familiar with the resources on the website. Now, there's some icons there that also appear. There's a Show Me Goal 1 link in the bar. There's also a link that says Close Choices, which means it'll cut the menu down considerably, but you may want to keep that open. If you click on the Show Me Goal 1, what you'll see is a video that will show you step by step, movement by movement, exactly how to go through Goal 1 and what is available, and explain it. So there are not only the text, but a video that explains how the text works. And then there's links to FamilySearch, and you can print and select language and do a search again. So these are the items that are here on the Project One Families Tree. It's going to be the same for any of the other websites, for Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past. It will tell you how to get started, how to navigate, what there is on the website, and go into detail about the features of that particular website. Now, when you're looking at Project One here, there's a Goal 1, Navigate Family Tree, and then below that, there are choices. So here are the goals once again, and that's how the goals work. And then down here, this tells you you're in Project One, Goal 1. You've clicked on Navigate up there. And then down here, you're going to get a list of choices, A through whatever number of levels that it takes to explain this particular process. So there might be ABC, and it might be ABC through G or F or G or whatever, H or whatever. There may be enough, whatever information is necessary. Okay, so here we now look and we'll see what are in the articles. Now these are what are in the choices. So there are both audio, there are both articles, which are mostly like PDF files online that you're going to look at that explain different aspects of the program. For example, here's a question in number 1 in this particular section. It says, who can see my living relatives on Family Tree? If you click on that, what you'll get is an explanation from FamilySearch, part of what you can find in the Help Center on FamilySearch, if you can find it, about how to find your living relatives. Okay, so one of the concerns and one of the difficulties that we face is that to some extent, the FamilySearch Help Center is a little bit difficult. Let's not get too, I won't get too far into that, but what we've tried to do here with the Family History Guide is organize all those basic questions and concepts and put them here in the training, or do that directly to in a section about the LDS or those who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the other religions. So there's a couple of places to look for this. Remember, there's a search. You can search for living relatives in Family Tree, and you would find this immediately on the search. And also other questions. The second part of this is, so you have, these little icons here show you that this is a document. And when you drop down here, you'll see a little triangle, which is a kind of universal thing for a video. And you'll find that this is a video, and it will tell you exactly how many minutes long it is. And this is an hour-long presentation from BYU on privacy concerns and genealogy. Number 10 here is the FamilySearch Project 2 Memories. And in the memory section of FamilySearch, there's another section. So you'll look across and you'll see goals for this particular portion. Gather records, interview relatives, browse memories, prepare uploads, add and tag photos. So if you are wondering how and where the instructions are for how to put memories into FamilySearch, you'll find out immediately that here is a complete summary of all of the different things you need to do to add memories to FamilySearch. Now, one kind of question that comes up about this time when I'm usually explaining is, well, what if the FamilySearch website's already changed? And the answer is, that's kind of our job. Our job is to watch the changes that happen on FamilySearch and the other websites, and keep the website to the people who actually run the website, Bob Taylor and Bob Ives, give them the information that they need for the programmers and people who are involved in that, primarily Bob Taylor. So here we have memories. You can gather your records, and it goes right through the whole process of uploading and putting records into the FamilySearch.org website, into the memory section. And if you go across, you'll see all of the different topics. So now you're in the FamilySearch. This is what you'd go to if you ended up getting into your own gallery on the FamilySearch memory gallery. If you have tens of thousands of very large numbers of relatives like I do, and a lot of them on the family tree, you may find out that you already have a lot of memories in your memory gallery. If you happen to be, your family happens to have been recently into the country, or recently had joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you may not find as many or any. There may not be anything there. You may have a clean slate to start uploading your own photos. One thing that does happen is as you increase your family tree, and as you work on your family tree, the chances that you will find more pictures in here increases as you continue to add people to your family tree. So you might be surprised. Number 11, Project 3, Descendants. One of the most kind of available things to some of us. Let's say, for instance, that you found yourself in my position, and that is that you would be you had inherited a genealogy that had been going on for over 100 years, and it took you many years just to simply wade through it all and organize it, put it into some format, and now you have it all on the family tree. And you find out as you go back on your many lines that they are all back to somebody who may or may not exist. And so then what do you do? Because you could spend a tremendous amount of effort and time trying to break through that last blue brick wall or end of line situation. Well, another opportunity is, of course, to focus on doing the descendants of all of the people, realizing that the FamilySearch family tree is a unified family tree, which means as you add information about your ancestors, you're really adding information about all of your ancestors' descendants, and adding opportunities for everyone who is related to you in any way back through any of your lines to find their own family in some way. So you're not just benefiting yourself, you're benefiting many thousands of people who are probably related to you. Now, for example, if you find yourself in a situation where you have few after a great effort, have made almost no headway in finding out who your family is, then there are ways to do that. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'll mention that it's through the DNA. DNA will help you expand who you are related to, even if you were if your parents or you were an orphan and both your parents were orphans. So that's kind of the way that we approach those kinds of questions. Okay, so number 12 here is FamilySearch Project 4, and that's Discover and how to get organized for research. So this is a research topic. It's not necessarily how to find any particular record. It's simply how to find records in general, how to get organized and then find records. And it has a lot of different kinds of records involved. And as you go across this goals, you'll see goals 1, 2, 3 through 10. And then you'll see something called Goldie May. Well, Goldie May is a partner program. And Goldie May is developed by the developer. And it is basically a finding aid. And it works with your with a Chrome web browser, and helps you find records on FamilySearch and helps you go do your activities of searching and working. It's a very expansive problem. And the program, the Family History Guide here, has instructions for using Goldie May. So here's another benefit. And there are, by the way, a number of other helpful programs that are that have links to how they work and how they do and how they help you. Okay, so the next project that you learn about is FamilySearch Project 5 Indexing. And if you have not been involved in indexing, indexing is what would it take those piles of records that I talked about preliminarily that are on FamilySearch and the search portion of the catalog, and that is to and make them searchable, more searchable. They're already searchable because they're digitized and they're online, so you can search them, but page by page searches are tedious, and it would be helpful sometimes to have an index. So, and I say sometimes because that's actually true. There are records that an index doesn't really give you that much help. And I'm speaking, for example, I can give you an example. An example of that are parish registers from Latin America and the Catholic Church parish registers. What happens there is that they're all in there by date and by and even an index to the record sometimes is not useful because the names are all very similar, or if not the same. There can be hundreds of people with the same name. So it's just, or thousands. So it's just, it's almost easier sometimes to go directly to the records and start looking, particularly if you have a date or a range of dates. And then you may find a lot more information than you would if you just simply looked in the index. But indexing is a process where you help other people by providing an index to the records that are already on the FamilySearch website. And this is a very good activity. It helps you to learn how to recognize handwriting. It helps you with understanding the types of records that are available. It's a very good background training, as well as a great service to the genealogical community to add an index to the records. Next, number 14 is Project 6 Helps. And Project 6 under the FamilySearch goes you to the Get Help menu, but it also explains the process of getting help. In other words, it gives you other places besides just help on FamilySearch. It gives you help with genealogical societies, collaboration, how you go about helping other people, how you publish a family history, how you can volunteer, and with various other things that are available. We'll get to more of these kinds of activities in just a minute. And here we are with Project 7, and Project 7 is technology. And here we're going to learn how to use the PC apps. And if you wanted to know how to get into using Microsoft Word or LibreOffice or a number of other programs that are here, you'll find out that there are PC apps, Mac apps, Google apps, so how to learn how to use social media for genealogy software, and create and upload a family tree. All of these different areas of links out to videos and to handouts and to support information so that you can learn all of this information that is available out there on the internet. This is kind of the open window to how you use other parts of the internet to find the information that you're looking for. Number 16 is FamilySearch Project 8 DNA. Now, I mentioned a moment ago about DNA, but DNA obviously has become something that becomes kind of central to a lot of the larger websites. The two big websites that have extensive records and family trees are Ancestry and MyHeritage. There are other DNA testing companies out there. There's one associated with Find My Past. There's 23andMe. There's a difference between getting a DNA test and using DNA as a tool to do genealogical research. In order to get a DNA test, you could get a DNA test even for medical reasons, or for trying to find out if you have an inheritable genetic problem or something of that nature. But when we move into the family history area, having just a DNA test does not help you a whole lot unless you happen to have a lot of relatives who also get DNA tests. And that then may still not give you a lot of information that's helpful. Where a DNA test becomes helpful in the genealogical sense is when you have it coupled with a substantially large family tree. Now, the large family trees that are connected to the DNA right now are as I mentioned, Ancestry and MyHeritage, and to some extent Find My Past, and some of the others. There's a few other websites with more national focuses than Ancestry and MyHeritage. What's the difference between the two? The simple difference is Ancestry's collecting records around the world, but primarily from English-speaking countries, Scandinavia, and to some extent into Mexico and a few other countries. MyHeritage is primarily the European. It is more with people who are involved in all of the European countries, and so wherever your ancestors came from, you may want to go see what kinds of records they have and where their user base is, and that would help you determine. Or you can do like I did and just get 2 tests or more tests and upload the information to different websites. Then you do get some surprisingly different information, and then you need to find out more about DNA in order to understand why doesn't Ancestry's test agree exactly with MyHeritage if it's the same DNA. The answer is DNA testing is almost scientific. It's scientific, but it's still an art. There's still a lot of work that you have to put into analyzing and working with the data. But here's the basic instructions right here on the Family History Guide. It will take you out to all the major DNA websites. It will let you see the videos and the records of how to get started with DNA. Now comes what I consider to be the heart of the whole Family History Guide website, and that is number 17, countries and ethnic. Now, as you look down here, you'll see this is a list of all of the major countries that are involved in getting in the Family History Guide. And we'll go into some examples of just a minute here of some of this, so you'll understand what's here. What is happening on the Family History Guide is that if you have any interest in doing research in any of these countries, there are detailed step-by-step instructions that take you to the most commonly used and some of the less commonly used records in every one of these countries across the world. This website has links to every one of these countries. Just think about that for a minute. So if you don't have any idea about how to get started with your relatives in England, this is where you can go and find out about all the English records that are available. Not all, that it's almost impossible. It's a 800-page book to get through all the English records, all the types of records. But basically, there's instructions about all the records that you would normally learn about if you were doing research in the United Kingdom or England. Okay, so here's the rest of the list. Supposing that you think you need some help with any of the other countries that are out there. To some extent, there are surprisingly a lot of records about some of these, a lot of records available for some of these countries. And through A through Z here, there are a lot of additional countries listed with pages. And to the extent that any of these records become available, we are certainly happy to have people advise us that there are additional records for these and that we can add in more records for any of the countries that do appear on this kind of secondary list. The reason they show up here is that historically, meaning since digitization, not a lot of records have shown up for most of these countries. Okay, so here's what you look at if you go to one of the countries. And in this case, if you're starting out in United States records, you can see above that there are a lot of different kinds of records that are outlined here. One question that comes up often when we get into the record sets like this is, what's the difference between the Family History Guide and the Research Wiki, the FamilySearch Research Wiki? Well, the Research Wiki is a marvelous, useful tool. The wiki is set up, the Research Wiki is a wiki, and it's set up like a web. So it's not sequenced, it's not structured. It's basically a string of different articles on different subjects with links out. And you sort of have to learn how to navigate your way through it, because it's not, you can't just go there and say, oh, you can, but it's a different structure. It's a different concept. It's a different way. What the Family History Guide does is it takes the information that's in the wiki and organizes it, puts it into a way that you can step by step see exactly how it all works. And it also links you out to instructional videos and other items that are not linked by the wiki. The wiki does not link to what we would consider to be copyright protected material. like a video or whatever that was made recently. So but there is no copyright violation. We're not copying the document. We're simply telling you where it is. And that's kind of the difference between the two websites. They're both valuable tools, and they both can be used in conjunction with each other. Now, once you're here to the United States page, and you've seen all the different kinds of records, location, regions, vital records, birth, adoption, marriage, death, cemetery, etc., you'll also see a list down below of all the states. And then you will find out that the Family History Guide also has instructions to how to do research in each one of the 50 states and Puerto Rico and a few other places in addition to that. And so there's other things, okay? One of the things is you look at the top up there, the menu that says goals, and it has all the little lightning bolts. The lightning bolts are quick links. They will take you out to records directly on that information. So you can click on those quick links and get to information quickly. When you see at the end of that, it says closed choices or open choices. You have another thing that says KB, and KB is the knowledge base. And the knowledge base is like an ever-growing encyclopedia of everything about genealogy. So you can get into the knowledge base and find more records and more information than is here in the basic part of the website. And you'll find there's other places too. So here's, for example, ethnic resources. One of them is getting started with African American, and record sources, the library and other resources, slavery resources, break through the barriers and get help. And you can see over on the menu item off to the right, we have African American and Asian, Basque, Hispanic, Jewish, Native American. And then we also have countries in the knowledge base that have additional information on different countries right here. I mentioned the knowledge base. This is what the knowledge base looks like, and it's set up by countries. You can see the abbreviations for all the different countries. And then you also have an A to Z search that you can go down and search by alphabetically to see the information and what's in these. This is additional information to what's linked within the website. Now, the reason for this is that in using good educational technology and looking at things how they should be organized when you're doing education, is you should only have no more than 2 or 3 items in each category of learning. And that's what we've done, has been done with the Family History Guide. But that doesn't mean we're limited. It means that you just simply have the basic information. And once you have that, we open it up to almost anything else that you can imagine about genealogical information. One thing that over time, over many years, the last few years, people have occasionally said to me is, oh, I wish I could just kind of download what was in your head. My answer is, well, I've been in the process of doing that for many years. And so if you just keep looking, you'll find out that most of what I know is someplace online. And the Family History Guide and the Research Wiki are 2 different projects that I've worked on extensively because I felt like they were ones that could benefit from getting a lot of information. So here's one way that this can happen. And by the way, I did not put all the information in here. I don't want to even give the idea that it came from me. This is a cooperative effort, and the information has been organized and acquired primarily by the person who runs the web itself, and that is Bob Taylor and his associate Bob Ives, and they have done a lot of this a lot. There is a lot of others contributing. However, we've had, by the way, if you have somebody that wants to do an internship, we are authorized to do by BYU or internships out of BYU, and we probably could get that from some other schools if someone wanted to do an internship on the website. We've had some really good interns who have added a lot of information to this website also. So here's the legend. This is what all the different resources that are linked out here from the vault. You can see all the way from American Ancestors down to Thought Company and Roots Tech and Riverton and Puzzpazilla, just all sorts of places out here. Okay, number 22 is the online tracker. Now this opens up in a whole different area that the website is designed as a teaching tool. If you were going to, for instance, if you were asked to be a FamilySearch yeah, someone that works for family history or is involved with a family history center or center director or volunteer in a center, and you are going to have to train or do presentations or whatever you're going to do, you can go straight here to the family history guide and get a complete outline of whatever you want to teach. It's very simple. And I have to admit that when I've been doing some of my videos, I come directly to the family history guide. I click down through the topics and I go, okay, now I've got an idea. And I just incorporate that in the organization of how I do my videos. So it's just a way of getting into it. But the online project tracker gives you an opportunity to record your progress and or record the progress of anybody that is in one of your classes, any of your potential students out there who are trying to learn. This is a whole internal educational structure for showing how and also indicating the degree of competency in every single one of the topics. So you can go through here and use this as a complete training structure for a class or for a semester or for a whole series of classes. And you can also track the progress of each of your students through the program on the tracker here. So this is a marvelous tool. Now, lest you think the whole thing is just total research and instruction, this is probably one of the largest. I could claim it would be the largest, but I wouldn't know that. But it's easily one of the largest areas of collections of family history activities that exist. And I don't mind saying that FamilySearch borrowed the whole idea from us and has incorporated some of the family history activities, but this is far and above. They're for families, individuals, youth, kids corner, homeschooling. There's homeschooling links and references. If you want to use this as a homeschool subject, indexing and planning. In fact, there are some school districts who have looked at the family history guide as an adjunct to their educational activities in school districts altogether. So this is the level and what this is. This website has been done at a very professional level. In the media resources, you'll find Under Media Resources, you'll find the Family History Guide blog and links out there. And you can subscribe to the blog by email and get and also look out at our other social networking sites. So here's some of the first things. There's lots of there's not any way to express how much information there is in the Family History Guide. And as we get here we are to the Family History Guide Association, which I mentioned at the beginning. This is the funding organization, and it's set up for donations, and they're very much appreciated. Okay, well, thanks for watching,